Hey, everyone. This is Kenny from the Dyslexic Investor. There's going to be looking at two stocks today. We're going to be looking at Adobe, and then we're going to look at Ulta Beauty. Yep, they're two different verticals, two different businesses, but they both have earnings this coming week. And these are the stocks that have kind of been in the headlines, that are kind of on like very aggressive growing companies, and a lot of people have been having their keen eye on, and usually their earnings go up or down drastically depending on what is said and what is done. So we're just going to look at Adobe here real fast, clear that out. Again, this is the daily chart. You can kind of see this up here. This is each of these candlesticks is 1 day. The yellow line for reference is the 21 EMA, or exponential moving average. And you kind of see here, in the past week, we've had a little bit of a strong sell-off due to worries in China again with the deal. We can talk about that for ages. And also that the Labor Department confirmed the economic only created like 20,000 jobs, which is extremely low, but that's a huge incentive behind the government shutdown that we had at the beginning of the year. So that being said, for Adobe, I would be on the very conservative side of going long. Again, this is just what I'll be doing in my opinion. Again, I'm not a professional. I just trade this in my own money and invest. I have been an Adobe investor, and I remember getting over 18 months. I kind of rode. It was way down here. We can go here. It was around this area, and I rode it up until maybe up here. I couldn't find the top in that for sure. Had no idea that's going to go that high. But Adobe has a lot of things going for them. Adobe is one of the first pioneers of the subscription model for sale, or for software. It seems so common now with everything being a subscription model, but Adobe is one of the first people to implement the license fees within a subscription fee, instead of paying an annual fee for a license that you have to renew every 2 or 3 years and pay thousands of dollars. Now you can only pay $60 to $75 a month for the Adobe Creative Suite and all the other things that come with it. And if you can think of anything, like, Adobe does so much in the sense of they basically have I want to say monopoly, but they have a really huge market share within the creative industry of ads and just creating the overall creative process within here. And the company does very well on that. And you can kind of see here, their last quarter, they didn't make as much as they thought. The other 2 quarters remain kind of up and then kind of sold off here. You can kind of see here that on the indicators here. So I honestly feel maybe the run up into earnings. So that's actually this coming Thursday. So it's on it's going to be after market close. Okay. So after market close on a Thursday. Yep. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to trade this and to look at it. Maybe get a nice earnings run to maybe, what I'm looking at is, let's go down to a smaller time frame. Let's go here, and we're gonna make this like a 30-minute chart. So this is these gray areas. There's the let's actually turn that off as well. Extended hours. Okay. So this pattern for me would be most likely to see if it breaks above 255.18 ish, 255.30, but I would just say 255.25. If it can break above that and hold, it has a good chance of coming out. And let's do some Fibonacci here real fast. Go high to low, potentially to 260 or 263. So these could be lines of resistance on the way up, depending on how it trades the following week. So that is my analysis on Adobe. Let's go back here and let's do Ulta. What do we have? ULTA. Again, here you can see all the ticker symbols up here and so forth. So Again, Ulta this past week kind of went down just due to the fact of mostly 80% of the stocks had a down week due to the high indexes rolling over and just kind of selling off just slightly, just a small pullback. You can kind of see a pattern here as well. It kind of went down to the yellow line again. This is a daily chart, went down to the 21 EMA as well. Kind of really went down much substantially lower on Friday. Kind of hit a bottom out and then worked its way up, closing above 21, which is, I find that is very attractive in my pattern, and I'll be looking to probably trade this into earnings, not for earnings, because earnings can be kind of a crapshoot. You can kind of see here the last quarter, whoa, that's a heck of a drop there, and then this quarter they blew up higher, and this one's kind of an and this one's kind of an and then kind of sold off. Again, I don't trade earnings, so if I'm trading options, I have calls or anything like that, I will not hold them. I would get rid of them prior to the earnings report, just because things can just blow up in your face. And another interesting thing I see here too is you can kind of see here, this is again Ulta here, this little red stuff, it's above the 7-ish on the RSI, which is an indicator of it could potentially, it's kind of hitting a marker of almost being overbought, or it's kind of top heavy, and it needs to sell off a little bit to redeem itself. And you kind of see that here represented in the graph. You kind of see this here. This is kind of like where it's like the value investors kind of come in, the people who are like, oh, this is it, I want to buy this at a discount, and so forth. You can kind of see here, kind of bounced and probably shook everyone else out, because this line right here is the 200 simple moving average. So the simple moving average is this little teal dotted line, and that's a lot of the individuals in this industry call it the value investor bottom. You can kind of see it kind of hugged it here a little bit. They thought that probably would happen the same, just kind of buy the dip. It kind of rolled over and flushed them out, and you kind of see here some emotional buying probably after the short selling frenzy here. Flushing out everyone that was long probably the last couple days, and then because this was, again, this right here was the whole selling of the whole market right before Christmas, and it kind of bottomed out actually a couple days prior to Christmas Eve, because it rallied the following day, kind of basically again the bottom on Christmas Eve here as well, and make this way up ever since. So ever since like Christmas or the holiday season this past year, it's been on an uptrend. And you can kind of see it. Once it crossed the 21 here, it just rode it up, and then it just rode up the teal small line here, the thin line here is the 8, and it's just been hugging that line, riding it up until it broke and kind of regained its momentum, slowing down, could be consolidating into another push higher or lower. Definitely I'm going to most likely be trading some options within Ulta and also Adobe this week. Maybe just trading for 2 or 3 days to try to get a nice little run up into earnings and see how that goes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Kenneth again. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.